Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video with Tank Viewer today, and today we're doing what boys and girls I'm glad you asked, because today we're back on World Tanks Console, that's right. And what we're doing on World Tanks Console there, Tank? Well, again, I'm glad you asked, because today we're taking a look at the all singing, all dancing new tech tree line, or the finishing of a tech tree line of tanks within Cold War in World Tanks Console. That's right, the Polish, Czech, and Roman, and I think it's Sovinsk or something like that. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name pretty badly. But the all new singing dancing texture line of tanks for Cold War Era 3 and some for Era 2 as well within this line for the Eastern Alliance tanks. So yeah. No, the TVP T5051 here is not one of the thanks. I just figured, you know what, we'll sit here and look at the gloriness of this nice tech tree vehicle here. But yeah, I guess let's get right into it. Let's go ahead and go over to tanks. Of course, this is the Eastern Alliance. Of course, to unlock your first tank at Era 2 is going to be the T-72M1. But how we're going to be doing this is we're going to start from Era 2, work our way up to Era 3. We'll probably do this one before we do the T-72M1, and then we'll work on showing you guys the other two tanks within the line. So let's take a look at the first tank, the T-72M1. I mean, it's of course the normal basics of a T-72 model of a tank. So yeah. So, oh wow, looks like we only get this type of gun. Hang on. Dang it. Let's go to upgrades. So we get the stock gun is a 125mm 2A461 cannon. The rate of fire is 5.45. Accuracy at 100 meters is 0.35. Damage is 550. Penetration is 372. Of course, we get APFSDS, heat, and HE. We could carry up to 44 rounds, which is not that bad. After all, I mean, you take as a, keep on forgetting, as a T-72 model. Of course, your hit points is 2,650. Max speed is 60 miles per hour. View range is 440. And concealment is 456. And let's look at the armor of the vehicle. So, armor-wise, let's look. So we got about 6 meter thickness, which is these, well, like, wherever you want to call these, on the sides, like little containers and stuff like that on the side of the turret. We got 10 meter thickness, which is the, like, above the tracks. Looks like a and press this like little circle thingy on the side of the turret here. We got 11 meter thickness, which looks like it's one of the view range finders. We got 15 meter thickness, which is the mud flaps and this little V shape on the front of the turret hull, and these what do you want to call them, rails on the side of the turret. We got 20 meter thickness, which is the belly of the tank, the tracks above, actually, yeah, above the tracks where the mud flaps sit, and these little bibs and bob like left and right of the gun. Then we have 25 meter thickness, which is looks like the front of the gun mantlet, and the sides of the hull, which is actually space armor protection right there. We have 30 meter thickness, which is the, well, engine deck, the cupolas, and these little view range finders. Right? Yeah, looks like it's the cupolas. 40 meter thickness, which is around the gun, or at least front of the gun mantlet, rear of the turret hull. We got 45 meter thickness, which is looks like it's part of the turret, plus around a little bit around the gun mantlet there and the upper plate a little bit. We got 50 meter thickness, which is the driver's port and the turret ring. We got 55 meter thickness, which is the gun. Not really worried about that, I guess. 65 meter thickness, which is the rear of the turret. 70, which is the inside of where the space armor is, which is the rear of the hull. 80, which is the front of the hull and the upper plate there, the full upper plate, with even where the driver sits. 100, which is the cupolas and a little bit more of the roof of the turret. 110, which is the inner part of the turret, front, both left and right of the gun. We have 115, which it's a low plate. I can't believe I didn't see that. 120, which is both left and right of the rear of the turret, or the sides, I guess you could say. 150 both left and right of the sides of the turret impress this little forehead right here. 180, which is inside the gun, which really doesn't make no sense, but okay. 200 meter thickness, which is a little bit of the lower plate. Okay. 220, which is the log in the rear of the tank. 220 is actually with that much thickness of armor. Like honestly, is it? 225, which is the front, left, and right of the gun, and then 280, which is the remaining of the gun mountlet. So, yeah, pretty well armored for a main battle tank. And you know what, we may go see how it pairs towards the T-72A. I mean, it might be just basically, it is the upgraded model of a T-72A. So, okay. So if you're used to playing your T-72s, you're going to be used to playing the T-72 M1. And I gotta say, this vehicle does look pretty cool to get your hands on if you're wanting to get your hands on. And able to unlock this, you do need to have the TR580 to able to get yourself the first of the new line of T-72s. Next is the T55AM Merida, which is a T55 model, which looks beautiful. Ooh, look at that thing. Wow. Okay. So let's go over here to the gun. So it gets a 100 mil gun. It doesn't get 125, but still, it doesn't really matter. It's a nice looking tank at Era 2. So yeah, the rate of fire is 7.32, accuracy 100 meters is 0.30, damage is 440, and pen is 376. Of course, we get APFSDS, heat, and HE, and carry up to 55 rounds. I keep on pressing circle. And of course, I don't know if I did say about this tank, the T-72M. The premium heat rounds do get 420 pin with 550 damage, and the HE gets 135 pin with 698 alpha. This tank shows almost similarity with its, what was those super shows again? Heat shells. It gets about 405 pen. HE gets about 135. Your heat shells gets 440 alpha, and your HE shells gets 580. Hit points is 2,600. Max speed is 55 miles per hour. View range is 480, and concealment is 379. Not really that bad as being a main battle tank for this lineup. Of course, right here is the upgrades. Of course, we got radio, the suspension, the engine. Of course, you get the T55AM media. I'm probably butchering that name so badly. Turret, and then radio, and then the gun, and then of course you lead into the Air 3 T72M1 milk. Milk, not milk, milk. Yeah, and of course you know how this tank goes too. I guess I will just show you guys the upgrades for this. Of course, you got the equipment slot, the radio, the suspension, the engine, another radio, the turret, and of course the gun, which looks like this T-72 gets only two guns, the stock gun and the fully upgraded gun. That leads into the T-55 AM Merida. I am probably butchering that name so badly here, but let's go over the armor of this machine. So we got about 6 meter thickness, which these little bits and bobs on the turret, and these little bits and bobs above the tracks. We got 10 meter thickness, which is this. Is that the log? No, that's not the log. That's a little white pipe thingy, and these other bibs and bobs. These little spike thingies on the back of the turret hull, not turret, and the side skirts, which is actually space armor, and also the mud flaps looks like too. We got 15 meter thickness, which is the engine deck. We got 20 meter thickness, which is a view range finder, and another piece on top of the turret, plus the belly of the tank, and also bits and bobs on the little plate, plus the tracks, and the track links. Or is that track links? I can't really see them too good, but there's little pieces on the rear. It's a little plate of the rear of the tank. We got 30 meter thickness, which is the upper plate, plus the where the driver sits, and a little bit around the gun. Not gun. Oh my goodness! Say right. The turret ring, and plus around the rear of the roof of the turret. We got 40 meter thickness, which is the gun. We got 45 meter thickness, which is the butt of the tank. We got 48 meter thickness, which is left and right of the gun mantlet, and plus the forehead of the tank, plus the cupolas. We got 50 meter thickness, which is the driver port. 57 meter thickness, which is the rear of the turret. We got 60, which is these two bits, which is space armor, left and right of the gun, and press the spot left and right of the hull, which is holds the turret. 65 meter thickness, which is the back of the turret again. We got 80 meter thickness, which is left and right of the hull. We got 86 meter thickness, which is the rear of the cupolas. We got 100, which is a ring around the gun and the left and right of the gun mount, plus the low plate and the upper plate of the hull. 115, which is the forehead, a little bit right there, plus left and right of where the smoke grenade launchers are at. 130, which it looks like is the front of the cupolas. 135, which is the left and right of the gun mount, at the front of the hull, not hull turret. 150, which is again left and right of the gun, but up front of the turret. Press around the gun mantlet, it looks like a little bit. 160, which is the bottom part of the turret of the left and right. And 180, which is again left and right of the gun of the front of the turret. 200 meter thickness, which it looks like is the remaining frontal plates of the turret pressed inside the gun, and the remaining parts of the gun mantlet. And 220, which is a log. That makes no sense, but okay, wherever wargaming, wherever you want to think of what the log is. But altogether, I gotta say, it's a pretty nice tank. Um, that we already looked at the stats of what the tank looks like when it's completely upgraded. But yeah, this is when the tank is not completely upgraded. So yeah. So let's go out and let's go over to Era 3. The first Era 3 we're going to be going over is the medium tank, the TR-85M. This tank is going to be pretty interesting with only a 100 caliber gun, but I gotta say it's going to be that little bit interesting to see this vehicle at Era 3 of what it can do. But penetration, we got 530, 600 for premium rounds, and 135 for HE. Damage is 440 for both your standard and premium rounds, and 580 for your HE. Hit points is 3,050. Not bad. Wonder if we get a little more if you once you get the upgrade turned. I believe you might. Max speed is 67 miles per hour. View range is 525, and concealment is 372. Okay, so let's look at the upgrades. Of course, the equipment slot, a radio, the pension, another radio, the gun. So you get the gun before the turn. Oh, nice. Okay. So you get the turn next, which is the last one. So you do get a little bit more hit points with the turn. Then, of course, you unlock the last tank of the line. So I guess in reality, if you do not want to play your way to another two more Aero 2 tanks, and you just don't want to play these two tanks, and maybe you just want to get to the T-72 M2E, go ahead and just play these. If you already have the TR-125 unlocked, you probably would maybe already have the TR-85M unlocked, and then that means you would just have to play through the TR-85M1 to unlock the T-72 M2E. So I guess it's the quicker way of getting the top tiered Era 3 tech tree vehicle of this line. So modules, of course, we got the 100 mil cannon. Rate of fire is 11.76. Accuracy on 100 meters is 0.20. And of course, you get APFSDS, heat, and HE, and you can carry up to 60 rounds. Not bad overall. But let's see the armor of the vehicle. And yeah, 6 meter thickness, which is these, well, bibs and bobs on the turret, plus here and there, looks like the vents, the rear of the turret hull, not turret, and these little boxes on the sides of the hull, and plus the skirts. We got 10 meter thickness, which is again the mud flaps and stuff, the smoke grenade launchers, and a little piece right back here where the log is, and something above the turret too. We got 15 meter thickness, which is the rear deterrent hull, turret, the turret ring, and where the driver sits, and a little bit right here, right in front of the driver sits. We got 20 meter thickness, which looks like bits and bobs of the upper plate, the space armor, both left and right of the gun. The I think that's a night vision piece. I could be wrong. Please miscorrect me if I'm wrong. Of the on top of the gun, plus the view rangefinder, I think that is, and something in the rear of the hull, plus the tracks, and it looks like the belly of the tank too. Yeah, and also the lower plate. We got 25 meter thickness, which is this little piece in front of the lower plate. We got 30 meter thickness, which is the around the turn ring, plus below and the oh my goodness, the top of the turn as well, around even the cupolas and the rear lower plate of the hull. We got 40 meter thickness, which is the gun. 45, which it looks like is the rear of the hull. We got 50, which is the rear of the turret, and the driver port, and plus this little bib right here from the cupolas. 65, which is the rear of the turret right here, back of the turret. We got 80, which is the sides of the hull, both left and right. The top, like the forehead of the turret, left and right of the turret, and also the engine deck itself. Okay. We got 85, which is left and right, or actually the rear of the, well, eh, sort of the rear of the cupolas, but not 100% rear of the cupolas. We got 100, which is around the gun mantlet and the lower plate again. We got 130, which is the front of the cupolas. 140, which is these little bit bibs and bobs around the turret. 150, which is the cupolas and the left and right of the hull turret, the hull. 180, which is again left and right of the turret. 190 looks like is around the gun mantlet and left and right of the turret again. 200, which is the upper plate, which is pretty angled too. 220, which is the log, which makes no sense, but it is what it is. 250, which is left and right of the gun mantlet and gun. 320, which is the front turret and inside the gun. Okay, and then 380, which is left and right of the gun mantlet, and this little slot right here beside the gun mantlet. Okay, so altogether, the front does look like if it goes all down, it does look like it's going to be some of a beast. But how is it going to perform in Era 3 with the gun? We're just going to wait and find out, I guess. Or most vegans might already have this tank, so if you do, let me know what you think about this new Roman TR-85M tank. Feels like in Era 3. Next is the T-72M2 tank, which is, Wilk, which I believe this is a Polish variation of the T-72, or it might not be. I don't know. But they have grades. Of course, we get equipment slot, the radio, the engine, the suspension, another radio, a gun, well, the turret, and then we get the last but not least, the gun, and then, of course, the PT-9120. If I push that name, now that is definitely a Polish tank. That's just another variation of the Polish T-72. So, our standard ammunition is, of course, going to be APFS DS rounds. It gets 493 meters of penetration. A premium variation of a round, it might be heat, I don't know, it might not be. We'll get 579 meters of penetration. The HE will get 155. Damage is 550 for both its premium and standard ammunition. 690 for its HE. and hit points is 3,250. Max speed is 60 miles per hour forward. View range is 465. Concealment is 456. Not really that bad for a T-72 model. Well, let's go over here. Of course, our gun, the rate of fire is 6.90 rounds per minute. Accuracy 100 meters is 0.28. And of course, we get APFS DS for both standard and premium variations. And it looks like we get HE for our last ammo. Of course, we can carry up to 45 rounds. Not bad, not bad. But let's look at the armor of this T-72. And this thing, it got, well, you can guess it right. A lot of space armor on the vehicle, too. So we get about 6 meters thickness, which is the, well, bibs and bobs around the turret. We got 10 meters thickness, which is the skirts and the muff flaps and these little containers on top of the tracks. Okay. We got 11 meters thickness, which is the little view range finder above right there. 15 meters thickness, which is all the ERA plating of armor, plus this little side bits on left and right of the hull, and this little side pieces on the left and right of the turret, and these little hook thingies on the rear of the hull. 16 meters thickness, which is the upper plate. 20 meters thickness, which looks like it's the lower plate, the belly, the tracks, above the tracks, these two little bibs and bobs on the back of the hull, plus the little plate of the back of the hull, and this little circle thing, and plus one of the hatches, cupolas. We got 25 meters thickness, which is the gun mallet, turret ring, and these little hooks on the front of the hull. Right, is that it? Yeah, looks like that's it. We got 26 meters thickness, which is the upper plate, and more ER plating on the turret as well. Both the above the turret plus the left and right of the gun, and on the left and right of the turret, and plus we got a little bit on left and right of the hull here. 30 meters thickness, which is the where the driver sits, and the engine deck, and another view range finder. Another two more. We got 40 meters thickness, which is the rear of the hull, and around the gun. We got 45 meters thickness, which is the cupola and the rear of the turn of the roof of the turret, and around the gun mount. It looks like 50 meters thickness, which is the driver sits. 55, which is the gun, which I don't think you're going to be aiming for the gun too much. This is not like War Thunder where you hit the gun and I mean, you can hit the gun, but the only thing that it's going to do is really hurt their accuracy, and that's basically it. It's not going to really do much of effectiveness like War Thunder. So yeah, we got 60 meters thickness, which is the upper plate. We got 70, which is the rear of the hull. 80, which is the um, front of the hull. 90, which is, well, left and right of the gun, inside the armor plate, or behind all the ERA plates and stuff. We got 100, which is one of the cupolas. Wow, okay. We got 105, which is the upper plate right there. This thing uses its a little bit of gun suppression it does have. Yeah, the armor is probably gonna be pretty hard to penetrate. 110, which is the turret ring, and yeah, that's basically it. So it looks like a little part of the rear of the turret. We got 115, which is the lower plate. 120, which is the rear of the turret. 150, which is the around this one cupola on this side of the cupola, and plus a little bit of a here and there in the front of the turret like this. 180, which it looks like it's inside the gun again. 220 is the log. The log is very thickly armored. Do not aim for the log, boys and girls. Mother Russian, or you can say this is a Russian tank because it is a Russian tank. It's a T-72. We got 260, which is left and right of near the rear of the turret. 265, which is the main part behind all that ERA plating. So, front right, I don't think you're going to be really going through this thing very easily. 280, which is the gun mantlet, and 290, which is the forehead and these left and right little parts of the turret as well. So okay, yeah, T-72 or T-72M2. This thing looks like it's going to be a beast on the battlefield. If if you don't mind me saying, it might be with all that ER plates and the protection on the turrets and stuff. To my opinion, I think this thing is going to be pretty strong at Era 3, especially if it goes hull down. Do keep in mind that too, it doesn't have the best gun depression. It does sort of have decent gun depression, but not like American Abrams or Leopard 2s or the Challengers or something like that. But definitely, it's going to be a pretty interesting vehicle to fight against and even play with. With that ER plating of armor, that might actually protect you against, especially the shape charge ammunition, which what space armor ER plating really does supposed to be it for. So, yeah. Next is the PT-91, which is a Polish main battle tank, which is a Polish variation of the T-72. And this thing looks like it's going to be the same way. So let's start off with its penetration. We get 579 meters penetration, 685 meters penetration with its premium rounds, with its HE round, which I'm guessing is HE, is 155, damage is 550 for both its premium and standard rounds, and 690 for its HE. Max hit points is 3,600. Max speed is 70 miles per hour. View range is 500. And concealment is 457. And let's look at the upgrades. So, of course, this vehicle gets the radio, suspension, a turret. Oh, the turret comes before the gun. Okay. Which looks like you get a little more hit points, which is nice. The radio, the engine, and then the gun. And then, of course, you get the last of the tank in this line, which is the T-72M2E Marina. And of course, you get a premium power patch and elite the tank as well. And I forgot to press do that. Then, okay, so let's go ahead and go over here. Oh, I forgot to do this for the previous tank. Well, you know what? Before we do that, let's go back to this tank. I don't think I did this, so let's look. So this kind of tank for being stock does get, two different types of APFS DS, and of course AG, gear up to 45 rounds, rate of fire is 6.90, accuracy 100 meters is 0.28. And I'm sorry for not getting this. I don't think I did do that. But let's go back to this PT-91. Um, this tank gets about accuracy of 100 meters, 7.69, accuracy. Rate of fire is 7.69. Accuracy 100 meters is 0.24. And of course, you get two different rounds of APFSDS rounds and HE, and getting up to 44 rounds. Of course, let's go look at the armor of the vehicle. The armor is going to be pretty interesting, it looks like, so let's do it. We got 6 meter thickness, which is these bibs bobs on the turns again. We got 10 meter thickness, which is the side skirts and the mud flap and the low plate, and the bibs and bobs are from the turret and the hull as well. We get 11 meter thickness, which is the one of the cupolas, and this view rangefinder. We get 15, which is this little bit right here, and these little spikes in the rear of the hull. 16 meter thickness, which is the upper plate. We got 20 meter thickness, which looks like it's remaining a little plate, plus the belly and above the tracks and these little bits and bobs of the rear of the hull, plus the near the engine deck, it looks like. 25 meter thickness, which is well, that little, I don't know what you want to call that thing, that little, like, skirt, um, above front of the, little plate, plus that little bib in front of the hull, plus the gun mantlet, and it looks like the turret ring, it looks like a little bit, plus these two mud flaps in the rear of the hull. Sorry for that, guys. Another view rangefinder plus where the driver sits is about 30 meters thickness. We got 40 meters thickness, which is the rear of the turret hull and around the gun. 45, which is the roof of the turret and also around the gun mantlet. 46, which is the remaining space armor protection, which is on both left and right of the hull. and also the upper plate of the hull, and plus these little bibs and bobs where the driver sits, plus the front and the forehead of the turret. About 50 meter thickness, which is the driver port. 55, which is the gun. 60, which is the upper plate again. 70, which is the left and right of the hull. 80, which is the left and right of the hull of the front. 90, which is the left and right of the gun in the front of the turret. 100, which is the cupola. 105, which is the upper plate again. So yeah, this thing is gonna have pretty decent protection of its upper plate. 110, which is the turret ring, and a little piece in the rear of the turret. 115, which is the lower plate, and that looks like it. 120, which is the rear of the turret again. 115, which is the cupola and this little ring here leading over to this side of the cupola. 220, which is the, I was gonna say space protection, but I don't see this one. Oh wait, it's the log. Never mind. I thought it was going to be on the turret, but no, it's the log. It's the freaking log. What? Okay. 260, which is left and right of the rear of the turret. 265, which is left and right of the gun. And 280, which is around the gun mantlet and inside the gun. And 290, which is the forehead and left and right of the turret as well. So, yeah, okay. Again, the log is very thickly armored. I don't think the log would be that powerful in real life. I mean, maybe it might stop a tank shell. I don't know. Would it? But still, the PT-91 Toyota. I'm probably butchering his name so badly. But next tank is our, well, last tank of the line, the T-72 M2E Madorina, which I'm probably butchering its name pretty dang badly. But let's look at the upgrades before we do forget. So because this is the last tank, you do not unlock anything after this. So we got a equipment slot plus our first actual upgrade is the radio suspension, and next is the radio, then a engine, and then the gun. And no turret. Oh wow, okay. But this thing does get, dang it. This thing does get two types of guns. It does get a auto cannon and it does get the main caliber gun. So I guess the playstyle of this T-72 model could be a little bit different than your previous T-72s within the game. So yeah, let's go over here and let's look at the main gun itself. So rate of fire is 7.59, accuracy 100 meters is 0.28. And of course, you get APFS DS for both your standard and premium rounds, HE, and carry up to 44 rounds. But don't forget, this vehicle also gets the Orcreon Controvis 204 KAA. Rate of fire of this gun is 987.11. Accuracy on 100 meters, 0.31. Damage is 10. Pen is 87. Of course, you get APCR and HE and carry up to 600 rounds. Dang, that's pretty good bit of rounds. But let's talk about the remaining parts of the tank. So your standard APFS DS round, it gets 606 meters of penetration. With your premium ones, gets 738. HE gets around 155. Damage is 550 for your standard APFS DS, but for your premium variation, it gets 565. HE gets 700 alpha damage, with your hit points about 3,900. Max speed is 60 miles per hour. View range is 505, and concealment is 456. Not bad after all. And now let's look at the bread and butter of the tank, the armor, which it looks like this line, or at least the previous two, the PT and the other T-2, looks like they're going to be pretty well armored main battle tanks in this lineup. So we got about 10 meter thickness, which is the mud flap and press above this whole bib above the tracks, plus the two little auto cannons, which I wonder, can you use both of them? I don't know, because I mean, I think you might be able to use them both. We got 11 meter thickness, which is, well, these bibs and bobs of the front of the turret and above the, where the forehead and on the side of the turret here. Wait, there's also Did I see something else? Oh yeah, left and right back here. About 50 meter thickness, which is these little bibs and bobs on the upper, well, the front of the hull and in the rear of the hull. We get 16 meter thickness, which is the upper plate. We get 20, which is the this little thing in the rear of the turret, plus the engine deck, the belly of the tank, and the lower, somewhat lower plate of the or ish at the hull, and press these little bibs and bobs of the lower plate at the back, and the same thing for the lower plate of the front of the tank and the tracks and above the tracks as well. We get 25 meter thickness, which is the side skirts and these little side pieces on the side of the turret, or not turret, hull, and the around the gun outlet. We get 30 meter thickness, which is the remaining protection, which is the ERA all over the turret, plus these two little ultra cannons, that little view range finder piece as well, with also the upper plate with its protection of ERA. We get 40 meter thickness, which is the rear of the hull and around the gun a little bit. We get 45, which is the left and right of the gun mantlet, plus the cupolas and the rear and the middle of the turret. About 50 meter thickness, which is the drive report. 55, which is the gun. 60, which is again the upper plate, which I believe if these tanks are going to use their gun depression or whatever gun depression they do have, they're going to be pretty well armored and pretty strong. But we're just going to find out and see what they can do. 70 meter thickness, which is the side left and right of the rear of the sides of the hull. 80, which is the left and right of the frontal part of the left and right of the hull. 90, which is left and right of the gun of the turret. 100, which is I really don't see it. Am I just blind? I just don't see it. Let me know, do you guys see it? Because I just don't see it. 100. Where's the 100 meter thickness of armor? um, I just don't see it. Unless it's inside of the gun? No? I just don't see it. 105, which is again the upper plate. Okay, so yeah, 110. What did I say? 105? Yeah, 105, and then 110 of both the bottom and the upper part of the rear of the turret. We get 115, which is the lower plate. 120, which is the rear of the turret, and 115, which is the well, round the cupola, both cupolas and stuff. Around 180, which is inside the gun. 220, which is again the log. If you want to bounce around, use the log. 235, which is left and right of the gun mantlet. 260, which is left and right of the rear of the turret, and press behind one of the cupolas. 280, which is the cupola itself, and 290, which is the forehead again, and left and right of the turret. So yeah, the T-72M2E Moderna, which I'm probably butchering that name so badly. These tanks look like they're going to be pretty interesting to fight. I wonder how good this T-72 back, please, thank you, and this T-72 wrong with the this T-72, but it's called PT-91. Uh, how are these three T-72s are going to be with their armor? It looks like, to me, their armor looks like it's going to be pretty interesting and pretty nice to have at Aero 3. I'm not sure if they're going to be better than the original three T-72s that we got at Aero 3. Uh, I mean, performance-wise, it looks like their guns look like they might perform maybe similar towards the previous ones. But if you have the other T-72s here, guys, and you do have these ones now, let me know what you think about them. Did you enjoy playing the Era 2 T-72? And did you enjoy playing the remaining three other T-72 models? Which, to be honest, I really don't care if these are more T-72s. It gives us more tanks to play. To be honest, I like it. I like having more T-72s. And with this one getting auto cannons, That's a pretty cool feature right there with for this T72 model. At least in my opinion, it's nice to have a T72 with some type of like auto protection where you can use against lightly armored targets, or heck, you can use to help you track in another main battle tank while your main gun is reloading. I don't know. I think these vehicles might be pretty nice to have, but I'd like to know what you guys think. Do you think these T-72s are great T-72s? Do you think they're alright? Do you think they're not so alright? Do you think maybe your Western Alliance main battle tanks can just dominate over these things? Or do you think they're just gonna be alright for us being a Russian main battle tank? Or I should say a mixture of Czech and Polish and well, actually none of these ain't Roman, but the only tank is Roman is the TR, which is the medium tank, but these other main battle tanks. Let me know what you think, the guys, about these vehicles. In my opinion, they're gonna be pretty good, or at least decent enough in a battlefield. I just wonder how the armor's gonna hold up with all that protection. Both this ERA plating and the upper plates being looking like they're pretty strong. So it might not be as simple with a big caliber gun. You could just go right through them. Who knows? But if you do have them, let me know in down below in the comments. And do you enjoy playing them? Do you like which one do you like? Which one do you think is more better at Era 3? Or do you think they all three are great tanks? Or at least decent tanks? I can't say it's great, because like most Russian main battle tanks, and I bet, like the previous T-72s, their ammunition is going to be inside the turret. Or at least below the turret. But it looks like in this one, we do get some ammunition in the rear of the turret, but that is probably for the auto cannon. So the main ammunition for the main caliber gun is definitely within inside the hull. So it looks like if you really want to smoke this one, aim a little bit above the track right there, or at least the top part of the tracks, you might able to pen and actually hit the ammunition for this vehicle. But yeah, let me know let me know what you guys think about this line. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you like in between for these vehicles? But that's gonna be it for this video there, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did, please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys want to. And like always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye for now.